Hello everybody, and welcome to my updated melee weapon tier list for Kerillian, everybody's favorite elf. Before we get into this tier list, I would just ask you to please hit that subscribe button, like this video, leave a comment, and if you want, join my Discord. Link will be in the description down below. Now without any further ado, let's get right into this list. First off, in D tier, big shocker here, yeah, I've got the Elven Axe. A lot of people dog on this weapon and say that it's like the worst in the game, and I mean, there's a case to be made. It's plagued by awkward light attacks, but it has a couple things going for it. It's got some decent heavy attacks, they do decent damage, so you can handle elites with it. I also think it has a really good push attack, as it gets a plus 20% crit chance to it. That's kind of nice. Another good thing about it, all the attacks, even the light ones, can do armor damage. However, low cleave and stagger hold it back offensively. It does have a 20% dodge bonus, that means you can dodge an extra 20% in whatever direction you go, with a 100 dodge count, which you don't see every day, and that gives it pretty decent utility. However, I feel like most people just find this weapon to be not that fun, because it's so awkward. So, personally, I've got it in D tier. Jumping up a tier into C, I've got the sword. Now the sword is a fast but low damage weapon. The first two light attacks and the push attack all have a linesman modifier. That is a mass modifier, basically meaning that it increases the amount of mass that a weapon can swing through, essentially giving it more cleave, which is nice. It's something you want on a weapon. It's very good. So all those attacks have linesman. However, only the third light attack and the two heavy attacks can do armor damage, and both the heavies receive a plus 10% crit chance. This weapon has a 25% dodge bonus with a 100 dodge count, just like the Elven Axe, giving it decent utility, but not making it terribly offensive. I have it in C tier. Jumping up yet another tier to B, I've got the Greatsword. Greatsword is a solid infantry / horde weapon. First two light attacks, the push attack, and the second heavy attack all get a linesman modifier, essentially giving a weapon more cleave, allowing it to hit more unarmored enemies. The first two light attacks also get a plus 10% crit chance, and the push attack gets a plus 25% crit chance. The first heavy attack can be held indefinitely, so as long as you want to hold that, it's cool. You can't block with it like you can with the Bretonnian longsword or something, but you can hold it as long as you like. Unfortunately, this weapon is a bit of a one-trick pony when it comes to dealing with armor, as you pretty much only have that first heavy attack as a reliable option for killing stuff. You kind of just have to spam it over and over. So this weapon sort of relies on the help of a ranged weapon to kill armored enemies, but if you're willing to put up with that, it's a decent choice and pretty fun. 4 weapons in and we're already into A tier. I've got the Elven Spear up here in A. Now this is a big finesse weapon, and what I mean by that is that it relies heavily on headshots to do the majority of its damage. Now you can make an argument that maybe that requires it to be in a lower tier, because how often are you going to hit headshots, but I choose to look at it the other way. The potential of this weapon is off the charts. If you are able to hit headshots, you can do crazy good damage, because its multiplier is pretty high. The first light attack, the third light attack, the push attack, the first heavy attack, and the second heavy attack all get linesman modifiers. So this weapon can deal some pretty good damage to multiple enemies at once. Its base damage values themselves are quite high, so it's capable of dealing with hordes as well as armored elites on its own. However, in my opinion, the biggest drawback of this weapon, even with all those linesman modifiers, which are nice to have, I still feel like sometimes I could use a bit more cleave on this weapon, especially when I'm dealing with a big horde. However, it's not big enough of a problem for me to really dislike this weapon at all. It has a 15% dodge bonus with a 3 dodge count, making it fairly average in terms of utility and defense, so I've got it in the A tier. Also sharing the spotlight with the Elven Spear in A tier is the Glaive. Some time ago, the Glaive was given its cleave back that had been taken away with the release of Winds of Magic, and it is once again a major powerhouse. All the light attacks and the first heavy attack get a linesman modifier, which gives it plenty of cleave when you're attacking, and you all are familiar with the heavy attacks and their massive amount of damage that they can do, making this weapon a good all-arounder great for infantry with lots of cleave and pretty decently fast attacks. Not outrageously fast, but serviceable. And then those two heavy attacks, the 1-2 punch with massive elite killing power. Even though this weapon has a 0% dodge bonus and a 3 count, it is offensively powerful enough to remain in A tier, in my opinion. The final weapon I have today in A tier are dual swords. Now I really like dual swords and they get a lot of hate. It doesn't do the most damage in the world, but this weapon has quite a bit to offer. All the light attacks get linesman modifiers, all the heavy attacks get heavy linesman modifiers, which is basically just the next best modifier to get after linesman. You're able to cleave through more things because the modifier reduces the mass of enemies. The push attack gets a plus 10% crit chance, the third light attack gets a plus 25% crit chance, and the fourth light attack gets a plus 50% Fat Daddy crit chance. So it's a bit weak against armor, but with a 25% dodge bonus and a 6 count, there's a lot to like in dual swords. We've got 3 weapons left, and all of them belong in S tier. First up, we've got dual daggers. Now it's important to note right off the bat that this weapon only has 2 stamina. 2 base stamina on the dual daggers. Putting that aside, the daggers are fast and do really big damage. It has low cleave, but its attack speed on all its attacks honestly are fast enough that it really doesn't matter. Another thing to note, all the light attacks and the push attack apply a bleed over time effect. Yeah, you heard me right, a little damage over time thing to even help it out with hordes some more. The third light attack, the fourth light attack, and the push attack all get a 10% extra crit chance as well. However, where this weapon really shines is against elites and monsters. On a shade, this is the best monster killing weapon you can use with Cloak of Pain. I also like to run this weapon on Handmaiden because you get that little extra half a stamina shield and you can do pretty good melee monster damage as well. It also boasts a 35% dodge bonus and a 6 dodge count. It belongs in S tier. Next up in S tier, the Spear and Shield. Now this is a weapon that is exclusively for Handmaiden, but it fits her perfectly. It has 5 stamina, making her very, very tanky. The attacks are decently fast, the third light attack gets a linesman modifier, and the first heavy attack gets a tank modifier. Now that's similar to a linesman, that's where you're able to cleave through multiple armored enemies. So, in my opinion, the tank is the best modifier you can have on a weapon, and this is the only Elven weapon to have a tank modifier. That first heavy attack also has a lot of stagger force. It's kind of a side swipe, so it's meant for just kind of knocking things out of the way. Got tremendous stagger force, it has a tank modifier. It's a get the hell out of my way kind of attack. While the second heavy attack, which comes right after it, a bit of a down slam, does big damage and is great for killing elites. And even with a 5% dodge bonus and a 3 count, it's really hard to die with this weapon. One other thing to note, if you don't find these attacks to be fast enough, you can run Azurai Alacrity on a Handmaiden, and you boost your power and your attack speed a little bit. Pretty easy to keep going, and it works quite nicely. Well, this is a little embarrassing. I put Sword and Dagger in A instead of the dual swords. That's not supposed to be there. Get over there, you rapscallion. Okay, the sword, fucking S tier. Sword and Dagger. I mean, come on. If you've played Elf, you've used the Sword and Dagger, you know how good it is. It's a fan favorite, and honestly a strong contender for the best weapon in the game. Sword and Dagger can do it all. It's got fast attacks, the first and second light attacks, get a linesman modifier, while the third and fourth push attack and the second heavy attack get plus 10% crit chance. The third light attack also causes that bleed over time effect that we saw with the dual daggers. Push attack into a second heavy attack is a great combo. Not only is it useful move tech to allow you to, move around quicker, escape from Stormvermin barreling down on you or whatever, it's also fantastic for killing elites, as that push attack ignores shields. Quite useful for kind of knocking shield vermin back, kind of stunning them a little bit, and then you can just barrel right into a second heavy attack, driving those swords into their beady little eyes, their heads, doing massive damage, and just taking them out quite nicely. And with a 25% dodge bonus and a 6 count, yeah, this weapon can really do it all. So that's my list, guys. In S tier I had Sword and Dagger, Dual Daggers, and Spear and Shield. In A tier I had Glaive, Elven Spear, and Dual Swords, not Sword and Dagger. In B tier I had the Greatsword. In C tier I had the regular sword. And then down in D tier I had the Elven Axe. Guys, if you like this list, let me know down below. If you didn't like the list, I'm sure you're already typing furiously. Like this video, join my Discord, link will be in the description down below. Have yourselves a nice day.